So now I'm with Nils Steinbrecher, who is the Managing Director of TES Sustainable Battery Solutions. Hello Nils, it's good to see you again. So since the last time I interviewed you a few months ago, would you like to give us an update on some of TES's projects?
Yeah, I would love to. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having us here again. It was a lovely conference, and you do always a great job of getting all these people together and clients coming together, so
thank you.
I enjoyed it again very much.
Great.
Yeah, so a lot is happening in this market, right? The supply chain globally is developing very fast, so I was actually thinking, what can I update you after we just talked a few months ago? But a lot happened since then, right? First of all, the investment we have from SK Group in Korea, right? So they took 100% of shares of TES, and that obviously we call it a bit like a supercharger, right, for us, because now we are not only part of the big boys in a way, but we expect that SK On, who is fourth or fifth largest energy battery producer, right, battery cell producer, will have a lot of production scrap around their facilities, right? And obviously when you have a gigafactory, you need recycling capacity. Right? So that's one interesting part. The second interesting part is obviously the technology they have, right? The technology we can use now in our own sites globally to add on to our processes, right? So, and yeah, I could give you an update maybe on the sites we're working on.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have actually just announced a 2,000-ton sites close to Sydney in Australia, which will be a metallurgical site, right, for creating black mass in Australia. And we're very excited about that, right? So we won a government grant actually from the government of New South Wales, and that will help us to build that plant. We have just commissioned a plant in Shanghai, a 10,000-ton plant, 10,000 tons per year, and that includes mechanical and hydrometallurgical processes. And for this plant is also interesting, we started already some half automation of the assembly. So far we didn't have that globally, right? So the first time we started looking how we can disassemble in an automated way, the battery packs. And also China is a different market, as you know, right? So we have in 2 phases till 27 actually, we want to increase the volume in China to 100,000 tons. Right. So that's quite big, right? That would be our biggest site. Yeah, so these are the updates for China. And then in Europe, obviously a lot of happening in Europe as well. So apart from our site in Grenoble, which is running for a long time, we are making great progress on the site in Rotterdam. And as you know, Rotterdam is the port of Rotterdam, is a multimodal access for our clients, right? Because it's in the harbor, you have the rail stations, you have the railway, you have the truck obviously can access the site. And there we plan a 10,000-ton black mass production till starting next year, right? So pretty soon. So hopefully next year when we have a chance, you can come to visit, right, in Rotterdam.
Absolutely.
And see the site.
And next ICBR in Rotterdam, or a future ICBR
we work together
in Rotterdam.
On that, right, to
Absolutely.
get the conference to Rotterdam.
Absolutely. So do you see that generally technology and the footprint of the supply chain of most companies is accelerating? Is that the message I'm getting?
Yeah, I mean, it's accelerating. I always say that in a way we are catching up with China, right? Because China actually is 5 to 10 years ahead, right? Not only in the battery production, but also in the recycling. But I would say Japan and Korea are very close, right? So being now part of the Korean environment and having Korean technology for us, I think it's a big advantage. Right. And you obviously want to bring that to Rotterdam. And that brings me actually to the second phase of Rotterdam, which will start 24-25. Where we will go all the way up to 25,000 tons, including hydrometallurgical process. And again, now we have SK on board. SK EcoPlant also announced that they have a major, large investment into Essent Elements, right? So they're part of the family now. They had a presentation today, very interesting. They can go all the way up to cathode material, right? So precursor and cathode material. So all this will be now considered in our technology for TES to see how far we can go in Rotterdam. Right? So that's quite exciting for us. It's really a turning point at the moment with all these investments happening.
And what SK brings to TES, that's complementary. That means that you'll be able to make further offers to your clients.
Yes, for sure. I mean, SK in Korea, has had recycling technology. They have even built second life energy storage systems, right? And mainly they have the deep knowledge of battery production, right? So we as recyclers, we are always challenged by the batteries we don't know much about, right? And also how they're assembled to be a model or a pack, right? So being part now of the SK group, I think it will be a big advantage for the recycler to have that knowledge from the batteries themselves, right? Not only for second life, right? So you can easily get the proper testing for the batteries, right? Because you have the knowledge from the battery producer, but also for recycling. I think there will be a big advantage to have that information, which often is confidential, right? If we take batteries from other suppliers, but if it is part of the family, we assume we can be much more efficient, right? Potentially also more efficient than the competition, because we know well those batteries.
There are many other big companies now investing more or less for the first time in battery recycling. So do you think these economies of scale are something that will make the difference? There'll be a rationalization in this market?
Oh yeah, for sure. I talked to some of the companies who do automation today, and obviously you need volumes, right? And you need similar volumes to have the automation working. And then, we also have our hub and spoke system. So we will likely announce soon more spokes in Europe, which will produce black mass, right? Which are smaller units. And the hub will be definitely in Rotterdam, maybe another hub in the future in Europe. But for the hub, you need a certain volume, right? So when we talk about our hydrometallurgical process, we think at least at 25,000 tons or more, right? To make that process happen. And that also leaves not so much room for smaller players, right? You can always have a small mechanical treatment and a small black mass production, but then what do you do with a black mass, right? But to go the next step, I think you need economic of scale. You need big enough processes like the hydrometallurgical process, and we plan it 25,000 plus.
Yeah, so big ambitions. And have you made some good contacts this year? This is the biggest ever ICBR.
Is it the biggest? Wow, okay.
It's the biggest in terms of
for me, it's only the
numbers.
second. The second ICBR. Last year, I know it was smaller also because
we had a
of
couple
COVID.
of difficult years.
Yes. Having a booth here was quite good, right? Because a lot of people come by, and there's a good location here next to the buffet. And we had a few OEMs coming to us. But I think that conference has a lot of value in also meeting your colleagues, right? Because there are a lot of recyclers here, right? It's also good to build partnerships within the recycling industry.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we are all learning, right?
Yes.
And we know that not everyone has all solutions. So one of the biggest value, apart from meeting some of my clients, is really building relationship to my future competitors, or I would say partners, right, in the industry. That was very interesting, and learn where they are, what terms do they have, learn from each other, and building new partnerships. That was pretty
partnerships
cool.
is a word I've heard a lot too. Well, thank you very much, Nils, and hopefully we'll meet up in Rotterdam.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to. Thanks, Jill, for the interview.
Thank you.